Hello, everybody. This is Narada Rishi Raja with Sacred Vibes Holistic Center, and I'm here with your advice from the Gita for the day. So let's go ahead and see what Krishna has to say for us today. We've got the Restless Mind. So this is chapter 6, verse 36. It says, the yoga practitioner whose mind is unbridled can never obtain self-realization. Only one who has mastered the self and who strives by right means is assured of success. So the very first words, the yoga practitioner. Let's talk about that. Who's the yoga practitioner? Yoga does not mean practicing asanas. Here's the thing. I don't like to admit this, but yoga in its true essence also doesn't mean meditation. Those are all techniques. The yoga practitioner is everyone. Literally, everyone and everything. It's in the process of learning how to come into yoga, come into union back with that source energy, that God source, right? That's what everything's doing. So everything's a yoga practitioner. It's just whether or not you know the science, you're studying the science, you're doing the techniques to make your process easier. It's all up to you. But you are a yoga practitioner. How well you feel determines how well your practice is going, right? But then we have here, so the yoga practitioner whose mind is unbridled can never attain self-realization, meaning if we don't do the meditation, if we don't do the breath work, if we don't do the asana, if we don't do the sitting, the turning inward, if we don't do the developing the focus, the developing the concentration, the learning how to manage our chemical system, our chemical storehouse that is our body, if we don't clean our temple, then we can't hold service. That's what this is referring to. Only one who has mastered the self and strives by right means is assured of success. The other thing with that, mastered the self, meaning you've done the techniques, you've learned how to transcend your previous programs, you're not operating through a amygdala filter, you do not have fear, you now are what would be considered a liberated being. That is mastered the self, but there's another part, and who strives by right means. So strives by right means, meaning, is it rooted in truth what you're doing now? Yes, you've liberated yourself, but once you've liberated, is it rooted in truth or is it rooted in personal gain? It can go either way. There's different levels after liberation. If you're liberated and you're still material focused and you're still looking for material gain, in Vedic culture and yogic scripture, that would be called an asura. That's a demon. If you're enlightened and you're woken and you're striving by right means, meaning that you're doing service and your whole life is now service that you've awoken, now you would fall under the deva category or like an angel category, right? And humans, the human category, believe it or not, even though these are different versions of humans, the demons and such, the asuras, but the human category would be all of those yoga practitioners with the unbridled mind right there, right? That would be everybody that is just the masses. Outside of that, you have liberated people on both sides. You have liberated people that are trying to liberate more people for the act of liberating them and giving them the gift of peace, the truth, understanding, teaching. Right? Then you have the others, which are trying to liberate folks in a certain way and get their emotions opened up in a certain way so that then they can use that power themselves. There's two different sides of liberation, and it all matters on whether or not you use the right processes. And so as far as spirituality, you can believe in any fairy tale that you'd like, any description of God's source that you'd like. However, in order to understand it properly, there's a science for this body, there's a science for this system. to break through the amygdala, to break through all kinds of blockages we have through our mental, emotional field, all of the 5 koshas, which are the bodies and the yogic science. We have all of these different things that we have to get in alignment before we see properly. That's what yoga is. Once we see properly, it doesn't matter, like I said, what fairy tale we believe in, what story we want to create to develop our relationship with that source connection deeper, right? I say fairy tale, and a lot of people, they might think that it's not as serious as it is. No, those stories are important. They're important because that's the whole way we experience, right? This whole experience down here is a story. Your whole life is a story. It's not real. This is just one blip of it. But it's a story in order to teach you a new lesson. So yes, we learn by stories. So whichever story you tell yourself, which would be whichever religion you have, that's fine. But yoga is the way to obtain success and truthful understanding in whatever that faith might be. There is a perennial philosophy that keeps coming back up. And it comes back from every group, every culture that seeks the absolute truth. They come up. Eventually, there's mystics that break through. They don't do what everybody else is doing. They don't look at things like everybody else because everybody else is looking through things with an unbridled mind. No, they focus in controlling that mind, and they all come up with this perennial philosophy. It keeps coming up, and there's a universal truth out there. If any of you are interested in what I'm talking about, how a lot of these different faiths come around to this, check out the book called The Perennial Way. It's got a lot of great scriptures from the Buddha, Yeshua, the Bhagavad Gita, all of these different things that explain this same core truth, the perennial way. Yoga is the way to understand that. All right, everybody. That's what we have for you today. That's what Krishna wants to say, and he's using my voice to get it out to you. So I hope that this message helps each and every one of you get a little bit closer in your practice and understand a little bit deeper about yoga and the Bhagavad Gita, and maybe inspire you to check it out. All right. Have a great day on purpose, everyone, and stay mindful. Namaskaram.